Welcome to our education video on the RTA's bond refund process. My name is Mark Fiddler, and I will be talking you through the refund process, starting from the end of the tenancy right through to the finalisation of the bond. We will discuss the end of tenancy and bond claim process, then look at how to request a refund and the steps within an agreed and non-agreed refund process, including the notice of claim process right through to a QCAT application. The RTA would like to advise that the information provided within this video is general advice only and is not legal advice. Please refer to the Residential Tenancies and Rooming Accommodation Act of 2008 or obtain your own legal advice. While we look at the refund process, let's have a quick look at the end of tenancy process. As you can see here on the slide, there are a handful of steps that should be taken to properly end a tenancy. Notice needs to be provided. A notice to leave, or Form 12, from the property manager owner to the tenant, or a notice of intention to leave, Form 13, from the tenant to the property manager or owner must be issued. Now please check the required timeframes before issuing the notice and ensure the forms are filled out correctly and in full. The tenant has a responsibility to leave the premises in the same condition it was at the start, bare, wear and tear accepted, so they will be expected to clean and repair any damage before handing back vacant possession. The tenant should return all keys and also fill out an exit condition report. We recommend that the parties communicate and work together through the exit process and come to a decision on how the bond is going to be distributed. If there are outstanding matters that need to be taken care of at the end of the tenancy, the parties can negotiate on how matters will be rectified or how payment, if required, will be made. A couple of things to note here. When it comes to rent, if there are outstanding amounts at the end of the tenancy, that might be rent owed up to the vacate date, for example. We recommend that a copy of the rent ledger is provided to the tenant to show what is owed and for the parties to discuss how this might be rectified. Please note that rent is calculated daily and is to be apportioned at the end of a tenancy. Tenant may be responsible for a few days' rent to pay up to the end of the tenancy, or the property manager or owner may need to refund a few days if the tenant has overpaid. It is also important to note that a payment of rent can only be used for rent, so any overpaid amount should not be used for any other costs but returned to the tenant. For expenses such as cleaning or garden maintenance or damage, please compare the entry and exit condition reports and any photos that may exist from the start or end of the tenancy. Also consider what is wear and tear compared to what might be damage, and please be conscious of what is being claimed for. The tenant cannot be responsible to leave the premises in a better condition than it was at the start of the tenancy. So now that we've ended the tenancy and we've considered what claims need to be made on the bond, let's look at how to make a claim. Claims can be made by using the RTA's web services or by submitting a paper form 4. If you are using web services, each tenant must have a unique email address. If this is not the case, then you will need to submit a paper form, and paper forms must be posted to the RTA. The fastest way to receive an agreed refund is by using web services. We'll talk through that process in a little more in a moment, but if the parties agree and use web services, the refund can generally be paid within 48 hours of the RTA receiving the initial claim. If there is no agreement in how the bond will be paid, then this will result in a notice of claim process starting, and again, we'll look at how that works in a moment. And as per the tips noted on the slide, payments will be made to Australian bank accounts. So ensure when you fill out the paper form that it is filled out in full, or if using web services, check and double check your bank details when you enter them, and please continue to communicate with the other party throughout the process. If the parties can agree on how the bond will be allocated and wish to use web services, one party needs to start the refund process. They allocate the funds and submit the request, and the other party or parties then will receive a fast-track email. They have 48 hours to access the request and agree to the refund request. Once this is done by all parties, payments will be made. Again, please check and double check what you are agreeing to, because once the fast track has been accepted, payments are made very quickly. If a paper form needs to be used, then it needs to be filled out and signed by all parties before being posted to the RTA for processing. Again, check the details on the form and check that bank details are correct, forwarding address details are correct, etc. Once received through the post, the RTA will process and payments will be made. If there are any signatures missing from a paper form, it will be treated as unagreed. Again, looking at the two different methods of submitting a refund. If a claim is made through web services and a party or parties who receive the fast track request disagree with the fast track or fail to respond to the request, a notice of claim will be issued. Now, please be aware that disagreeing to the fast track is not disputing the claim. You will still need to respond to the notice of claim that will be emailed or posted to you, depending on the preference you've indicated to the RTA. If we receive a paper form that is missing signatures, we will process the form and email or post notices of claim to parties whose signatures are missing. Now, parties have 14 days to respond to the notice of claim. They can agree to the claim by signing the NOC and returning it, or if they wish to dispute the claim that has been made, they must submit a Form 16 to the RTA within the 14-day period. So as I just touched on, you have 14 days to respond to the notice of claim or the NOC. A Form 16 can be posted, can be emailed, or it can be submitted via web services, but it must be received by the RTA within the 14-day notice of claim period. If the RTA do not receive a response to the notice of claim, either agreeing or disputing by the time the 14 days expires, we will disperse the bond as per the first refund form that we received. If we do receive a dispute request in time, we will hold the bond pending the outcome of the dispute. If there is a bond claim or a bond dispute lodged with the RTA by a property manager or owner, they will need to provide evidence of their claim to the tenant within 14 days. Evidence to the tenant may include receipts, repair quotes, or records of unpaid rent. Now, while the Act does not define what the evidence is and provides examples only, you can see that the examples are based around monetary amounts. Please also note that this 14-day timeframe is not the RTA notice of claim timeframe. They are two separate processes and may cross over. We know that the quickest way to get a bond refund is an agreed refund between a managing party and their tenant, and we encourage good communication, not just during the tenancy, but also at the end of the tenancy when we know that if there is an issue, talking with each other and sharing information can help resolve the matter. So once the dispute has been lodged, parties will be contacted by an RTA intake officer and dispute details will be requested. Not evidence, that needs to be shared between the parties involved in the dispute. The RTA is not a decision maker, but will assist the parties to work through the claims and come to an agreement. The intake officer will set a time and date for the conciliation to take place. Parties will receive an SMS reminder 3 days prior to the teleconference, and they should come to the teleconference prepared. Details will be in the reminder SMS, and as I just mentioned during the teleconference, the conciliator will facilitate a conversation between the parties with a view to reaching an outcome. If agreement is reached between the parties, the conciliator will arrange paperwork documenting the agreement to be issued to the parties for signing, returning to the RTA, and for payment to be made. If agreement is not reached through the teleconference, the disputing party will be issued a notice of unresolved dispute and have 7 days to notify the RTA that an application to the Queensland Civil and Administrative Tribunal, or QCAT, has been made. If they make the application and notify the RTA in writing that they have within the 7-day timeframe, the RTA will continue to hold the bond until the tribunal hearing and an order is made. If they fail to make an application or provide notification of the application to the RTA, the bond will be paid as per the original claim. Submitting an application to QCAT can be by paper form or online with QCAT's QCase system. Remember, timeframes apply as I just mentioned. Once the application has been made, QCAT will advise the parties of a hearing date. The hearing will take place, and if an order is made, QCAT will provide a copy to the RTA and the RTA will disperse the bond as per the order. If the matter is dismissed or withdrawn at QCAT, the RTA will release the bond as per the original claim form. It's important to have solid evidence to support your claim or your argument. This could include things like tenancy paperwork, any correspondence or emails, photos, copies of notices and invoices. If rent arrears are involved, then a copy of the rent ledger and bank statements would be included in this. What also helps is a chronological summary of key issues and dates. This helps the adjudicator follow the tenancy and understand the issues and what steps or actions have been taken. You will see the tip on the screen regarding a QCAT practice direction. It's important to read this and follow the requirements to give yourself the best chance of a successful hearing. The practice directive, other resources, forms and information regarding QCAT can be found on their website at qcat.qld.gov.au. Thank you for listening to our information regarding the refund process. Further information about what I have discussed today is available on our website at www.rta.qld.gov.au or through our other channels, including our YouTube videos and podcasts. Our friendly contact centre staff can also assist you with your tenancy or bond queries on 1300 366 311. And to stay in touch and receive regular updates from the RTA, we encourage you to sign up for our monthly e-newsletter or follow us on LinkedIn using the details on the screen.